Our next guest on the Any Given Runday podcast is the founder of Elite Event Management, who have organised races such as Quest, Ring of Bearer, Wicklow 200, Project 8, and the upcoming Run the Night series in Cork on February 11th and Dublin on February 18th. Oliver Kirwan, welcome to this week's episode of the Any Given Runday podcast. How are you getting on?
Great now, Sean. Yourself, how are things?
Not too bad.
Ollie, I've been trying to organise events for years for the simple reason I'd rather organise than run them. And it's kind of like our little trip to Barcelona here. Do you ever consider running any of these? Because what Sean's listed there are some of the more well-known, some tough races. Are you ever tempted to join in?
I don't know, like someone explained to me before the whole event management thing, and they kind of outlined, I shared this thing online, and it was the top three most stressful jobs in the world, and number one was a hostage negotiator. Number two was a army bomb disposal unit, and number three was an event manager. So, so I don't know. Yeah, like it's event management is tough. It's a hard gig. A lot of people to keep happy, runners and all the other bits and pieces that go with it. But yeah, no, I'd love to have more time to be on the other side of it and taking part myself. But yeah, events going to consume most of my life at the moment,
How did you get into this? And Ollie, what drove you into event management? And what made you think, you know what, this is for me, this is what I'd like to do? And particularly when we look at the sporting events that most of our listeners are interested in, that Sean has just listed, what brought you into this? And can you remember that first event fear?
Oh God, I'm getting PTSD even just thinking about it. No, we fell into it, So myself and my wife's friend, we were doing kind of events around the country, different running events, different cycle events, different adventure races. We were living in Killarney, in Kerry, and we realised there's no events like this in the world in Killarney or in Kerry. So we said, oh, do you know what? We'll give it a go. And we were approached by I think it was the local Chamber of Commerce, and said, will you organise a 5K Santa fun run, And we said, yeah, and that was back in 2010. And we said, yeah, we'll give it a shot. So we didn't kill anybody and everyone got around safely. So we're like, oh, how hard can it be, So then we progressed from that kind of as a hobby, a kind of a side gig, really, until we started organising bigger events. And some of the events that we're doing are kind of more popular. So we started doing an event in Killarney. It's still running today, actually, Run Killarney. We don't actually organise it, but it's Run Killarney half marathon and 10K that's usually on in the summertime. We did that for kind of 10 years. And then during COVID, we sold it off. But that was our first kind of big event we did. And straight away, we were kind of thrown in at the deep end in terms of what organising an event is about. And I thought it sounds good or bad, but we were kind of winging it most of the time, to be honest with you.
Ollie, how do you go from Santa Fun Run to what we've heard in the podcast by some people, their hardest race, the Wicklow 200? That's a big gap, Ollie. Like, that's a big demographic shift there. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I suppose again, we kind of fell into it. I suppose some of our events, like our biggest event that we have will be the Ring of Bearer cycle down at Camera, and it's like 5,000-6,000 people take part in that. And it covers like 180 kilometers of ground. And there's huge logistics involved in that. And again, it was kind of, we started small and then we kind of fell into getting bigger. And you kind of, like anything, I suppose, if you have a set of skills and you are kind of, so to say, personable to people and kind of organize it that way, and again, winging a small bit of it as well. But yeah, we started building a team together then, we started building a team together that are event professionals now at this stage, and they started helping us out, and we started taking on full-time staff. And as my wife called it, she goes, you guys have a proper business now, you're going to start taking this seriously, So we had to get a shed and an office and laptops and email addresses and all that kind of stuff. So it was really kind of startup kind of mode for the first 5 or 10 years, and then we kind of turned it into a proper business, really. And now we're currently, as I said, we're based just outside Killarney, Killarney, and we have 4 full-time staff. About 20,000 people do our events every year. We do all kinds of stuff. People throw stuff at us. Funny enough, some of the events we do are, there's running, kayaking and cycling in our Quest events. And that's like 3 different races all in one to organise. Whereas a running event, people are only running, so it's kind of, it's a lot easier. But yeah, no, we get great enjoyment out of it, it's kind of the purpose of what we do. People that take part in our events get great enjoyment out of it. It changes people's lives sometimes, and that's where we really feed from as well.
Ollie, a lot of clubs who are listening to this, and it's so good to have somebody on the other side to kind of guide us through this on a Thursday special episode. We're thinking of running a 10K, or we're thinking of running a 5K, the club. But we know, particularly since COVID, the numbers have exploded. We've got ballots on certain races. We've sold out events on most 10Ks, 5Ks with athletics clubs around the country. Where do people start when it comes to planning an event? Because we all say, as you just said, in theory, it's just people running, and we have a start point and a finish point, but a hell of a lot has to go into it. What do people have to consider, particularly as clubs or run clubs or social clubs, when they are thinking about putting on one of these events?
I'd always start with like the why. Like, why is a run club or a running club doing it? So are you doing it to raise money for new facilities? Are you doing it to raise money for a charity? Are you running it as a commercial event? And you kind of start with that, and that's kind of the first place I'd start. So, because that's the first thing that people will ask you when you go to the councils or the guards in terms of what you're doing. So find out what your why is. Like, we're running this 5K event in the park to encourage people to finish off their Couch to 5K program they started in January, or we're doing this half marathon to get people prepped for the Dublin marathon, whatever it may be. So you kind of have to start with the why first. And once you kind of have that solid and you know what you're doing, then you kind of get a good team behind you. So in the club, get a good team behind you in terms of people you know you can work with, that have a practical head. Like, there's no major specialist skills, you know, that you need for you know, years and years of training. As someone said to me before, it's not rocket surgery, you know. it's you know, it's just a set of skills that you can apply across to it. But like, if I was going somewhere and I was like a club and I was trying to organize it, find out the why first. The next thing then is I talk to your local guards, basically, you know, because the guards would probably have experience of events been run in that locality in the past, and kind of sit down with them and say, oh, look, we're thinking of doing this fun run because of the charity or because of raising money for the club or whatever reason it is. And we're thinking of doing it here. And he would say, oh, Jesus, you can't go by there because, you know, that's on the bus lane, or you can't go by there, or you're running across the loose tracks there, lads, you know, you're going to stop, or stuff like that. So they have all that kind of experience. So I wouldn't plan it too much before you engage the local stakeholders in terms of the guards or your local council. So kind of come to them if you know your local guard, come to them with a broad plan and get their advice, because they know best. And at the end of the day, they're going to give you the green light or not. If you come into them and kind of say, we're doing this 5K race, we're starting here, we're running around the road and we're going over there, and that's our food stop, that's our water stop, and that's where we're having our turnaround point or whatever it is, you know, you're too far down the road. He'll go, they know a lot about this stuff already. So it's getting their advice first. That's where I'd start, you know.
Does that happen a lot to races of people like, oh, you should have went down this way? And you're like, no, that seems good, but then this issue arises from there.
Yeah, like when we started doing it first, it was like in around Killarney, and it's like, yeah, we'll run around by the cathedral there, you know, and finish up there. We're like, oh, we're fine. But yeah, there's funerals on in the morning. There's an event we had last year, the Tour de France cycle event we had in Killarney as well. It was in the field beside the cathedral, and there was someone getting married, and in the middle of it, so we had the music on, and then she was coming out of church, and the bride was ringing you, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're ruining my wedding!" I'm like, "I'll turn it down, I'll turn it down." And the traffic was really bad. The traffic was really bad because of the event, and we had the road closed, and so there's all kinds of stuff like that straight away. Yeah, you're like, when people say, "Oh, when did you go there? It's a lovely route," and it's like, you know, we can't get permissions because of X, Y, and Z. And there's always, I always kind of see with events and routes. And that's what I actually like about events, is kind of pulling the routes together. But it's like a jigsaw, and you know, there's lots of different parts you have to fit in to get right, and eventually it will come right. But yeah, it's just to consider where you're going a lot of time as well, you know.
When you look at dealing with the likes of guards, councils, boards, because I know, and we talk about Dublin City Marathon because they were talking about moving it and changing it because of all the things we've talked about. But the revenue it brings to a city and a race and what an event can do for the morning of, in terms of the local shops, coffee shops, tourism, hotels. Do you find it hard as an event manager to kind of highlight, look, there's a lot to be gained from this, as well as, okay, yeah, there's the downsides and someone's funeral, someone's wedding, and all those things we've just mentioned. How do you balance that act between I suppose the positivity it's bringing to the club, raising money, a charity, the local community, all those athletes who want something to take part in, and obviously the disruption element and the revenue element to the town. How do you balance that in terms of an event plan or a business plan for the event?
Um, some locations get it. Okay, some locations say, yeah, we need events in our town, in our city, to promote the area, to, like, firstly, even before you get into the economic impact of it. So say the Run the Night event we're doing in a couple of weeks' time in Dublin, like, where we're running in around the Docklands, in or up around by Sheriff Street and places like that. That's to promote, one of the main things that's promoting in the area is, this is a good place to live. These are the stuff that happens in Dublin City. The cities themselves, from a higher picture, like to see these things happening, for overall social benefit of everybody living in the city, even before economics or anything like that comes into play. So you kind of have to ensure that the council, or the city or town, or the county, whatever it is, kind of see that. But the problem is not many in Ireland, not many cities or councils actually really see that benefit. All right. So they will see it as being a kind of a bit of a nuisance. So a lot of the places we go to, it's like, oh, you're coming here and you're closing the road and whatever else may be, and you're disturbing, the farmers are bringing their sheep to wherever, and you have to respect all that. But some towns really will embrace it. They'll open all the doors for you, and other towns will look at it and go, oh, this is just a pain, and even before you talk about the economics of it. And, like, we've done, event impact studies from an economic perspective, and what it brings to the town, the promotion towns and locations get, the money that's spent, the kind of knock-on effect of that, all the social, benefits of it to the location. And some places don't get it. They just go, you're closing the road and you're using up our resources to do whatever. So it's really hard. In Ireland, it's different in different locations. And we organise a big Tour de France event called l'Attack. It's a big cycle event. We had it in Clarny and we had it in Cork on Shore last year. And even though you're bringing 2,000 cyclists to a location and they're all staying the weekend there, some locations don't see the benefit of that. They don't.
Wow.
And exposure to it, and for an international event coming to a location, they don't see the huge benefit of it. And they see it as a kind of a bit of a nuisance. But, like, even from a small 5K or a 10K with a couple of hundred people taking part, there's a really good park run down in the Bear Peninsula. It's on an island. It's called Bear Island.
I've done
And
it.
yeah, and you get the boat over to the park, but, like,
Yeah.
it's about as far away from Dublin as you can get, like, and you get the boat over, and every Saturday morning that boat's packed, and the coffee shop, the local people all get behind this park run, and I think it was voted maybe the best park run in the world or something, or it was like top 5 or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, wow.
You get over to it, and, like, it's literally an island with, I don't know the actual population of it. It might be maybe 100 people living on the island max, and then 200 people arrive every Saturday morning. They go to the coffee shops, and they walk around. They bring their kids. There might be a tourist shop or something. They buy something in, or a bit of lunch, and that has literally just taken off. That in terms of, if that was to go now, it'd be huge for them. It'd be a massive, big loss. So there's some locations like that embrace it and want it, but other locations to see it as regardless of the economic impact it has, they see it as a bit of a pain.
It's amazing to look at that. I did that park run back in 2017 because we were on a training camp on the military camp that's there.
Yeah,
And we
on
were like,
Bear
oh,
Island,
there's a local park run. And like 70 of us showed up and they were like, whoa, what's happening here? But when you talk about economic impact, now there's a boat that sells tickets. Now the coffee shops, because there was a hotel, a shop and a pub, and that's pretty much the limit of the island and those who live there. Now they're actually looking forward to, oh yeah, we'll get everything ready, the fresh baked goods, everything for,
Yeah.
and the difference of that exposure from an event has had on a small industry.
Yeah, and, like, you'd look at that, like, you'd love to go back there with the family, or to stay over a few nights, or to camp over there or whatever, and make it part of something, because it was such a special running experience on an island, and that's all part. That's what events do, Events can elevate a town, a location, an area to different levels. Like, if you look at the say, for example, like say the Tour de France. If you look at the Tour de France and all the little villages that are involved on the routes of the Tour de France and what they do and what they realise it does for their location and the impact it has, and they all just get behind it. They're all out for weeks in advance, painted the roads and making sure all the flowers are out and all the street furniture is decorated and everything, and they really get behind it. And I find in Ireland sometimes it's some locations are great, don't get me wrong, but other locations can be like, it's a bit of a pain, you know.
Especially with something as big as that you've done for the Quest events. Like, I know pockets of people in the gyms I'm working in, they're like, right, we're making a weekend now, but we're heading down the night before. And because those events, if you're 2-3 hours traveling, it's not something you want to do the morning of and then try and travel back that day. You make a day or two out of it, and it's really good for that. Before we talk a little bit more about the Run the Night, I want to switch up just slightly, because Eric had talked about there, these events, 5Ks, 10Ks selling out, and slightly different on that you guys are running. This Project 8 thing, functional fitness event with night out energy, slightly, the High Rocks is taken off, Trike is taken off. Eric sold on that tagline alone. You can't handle nights out with drink for the next day. So it's like, right, get it done during the daytime and get a bit of a sweat on, happy out, and an early night back to your bed. What is Project 8?
Yeah, so like, I suppose we're in the industry a while now, and we see kind of different trends that are happening out there. And we find that, say, a lot of our cycling events and adventure racing events, our usual people that take part in those events, they're kind of drifting towards the indoor fitness events like High Rocks or Troika or often the simulation events that are out there at the moment. So huge numbers of people are doing that. So we've taken part in a few of them ourselves, and we kind of said, look, there's an opening here. I think we should look at it. But we want to do it slightly different. So working in events for so long, there's a few things that are really hard working events. One is working outside in the wind and the rain, right? Right, okay. And two is trying to get people to help you. Like some of our events, we can need 200, 250 people to help out on the day, stand on a road or at a water station or whatever it may be, or a feed station. And it's just really hard. So we said, if we're ever going to do an event like this, from a practicality point of view and a scalability point of view, we want to do where we can do it inside and it doesn't take a huge amount of people to help. So we've come up with this concept. It's called Project 8. It's all driven by, so each station has a tablet, and there's augmented reality on the tablet, and it counts all your reps, it counts all your distances, and it's kind of driven by that. So, and then we looked at the other events and we kind of went, right, how can we make it a bit more unique? So Project 8 is basically, there's 4 pits, and there's 2 exercises per pit, and you do 3 rounds of those exercises in each pit, and then you do max meters afterwards, which is the time you've left over in those 12 minutes. That's your score. So it's not on time, it's on meters. It's doubles. You jump in with your mate. If you have to do a 300-meter row or a ski or whatever it is, you can do 100, I can do 50, whatever it may be. And then we kind of said, right, how can we make it cool? So we kind of have live DJs, cool lighting, really good event experience for it. So it's something different. Then there's not as, I suppose this is probably the wrong place to say it, there's not as much running.
Yeah, you probably appeal to the right 2 people, not the audience, but the right 2 people. We're like, I'm not too much running. We're happy with that.
So because in Irish cycling there's a lot of running, and some people don't like say the feeling of you're running along and someone's passing you out and you're going fast or slow. So it's going to be really exclusive. So the running element of it is shuttle runs. So it's like going back to football again. You're touching the screen and you're hitting it and the clock sit down. It's really cool. And we've got sims going on all over Cork at the moment, because that's where we're doing our first event. And I just feel this is where the industry is going. And I said, we love doing events. We love taking part. We love coming up with these new events. And where we get our kick from is creating something, and then loads of people coming and doing it and really enjoying it, or coming up to you after and going, that was brilliant. I trained for 6 months on that. That's where we get our kick from. That people use our events as something that's kind of social good,
See, another thing you kind of picked out, not compared to High Rocks, is that when I talk to people doing stuff like that, if they do it in doubles, it's like, that was a bit of fun. Whereas singles, a lot of time go, oh my God, I suffered. But it's just those that go from singles to doubles, even though they're still working hard and suffering, there's a more of a, dare I say, an enjoyment element out of it, that you're working, you go, I go, like you talk about those pits things, it's pretty cool. But before you're running your first event there at the end of the month for Project 8, you are doing February 11th in Cork, a charity run to support Little Blue Heroes Foundation on the 11th, and then the 18th in Dublin. How did this come about?
Yeah, so the two events, two nighttime events, a 5 mile run, kind of 8K, more or less, runs in Dublin and Cork. There's actually one in Luxembourg as well we're doing too, so we're shipping off out to Luxembourg after we go to Dublin
Brilliant.
to do one over there. I was never in Luxembourg before, so it's going to be...
You love a challenge.
Yeah, we'll rock over and do it, you know. Yeah. So anyway, so how it came about? So kind of the history of it is that for the last 10 years, a guy called Mark Pollock ran an event called Run the Night, there was like 20 of those events all over the world. There was about 10 or 15 in Ireland. There was some in London, New York, all these places. And he kind of brought that to where it could be brought to, and that he wanted to finish up. So myself and another guy called Dean chatted to him and said, look, we can take over these events and we can continue them on from the good work that he's done. So basically we call it Run the Night, and we also get involved the charity partner in it as well, which is the Little Blue Heroes, which is the Garda charity, the Garda community charity that they use, or that they organise and they run. So so we kind of said it used to be a 5K run, so we changed it now to 5 mile, kind of 8K, come up with a couple of really good routes in Dublin and in Cork. I don't know what the one in Luxembourg was like, but we'll get there in a couple of weeks. I'm looking over on a flight just to test out the route, you know. So two really good routes in Dublin and in Cork, and they're selling. You know, they're really, really popular. It's running is huge. It's such a in the industry, like, you know, running events are so popular, especially that kind of a distance. 8K is good, and we've got 2,500 people for Cork, hoping to get about 5,000 for Dublin. So they're big events. Going to be really good fun.
And I suppose the novelty is showing up for a race in the evening time. It's dark. It's a different, very different atmosphere to a race morning.
Yeah, it is. It's not searching for the coffee in the morning, or, you know, queuing for that Portaloo. It's in the evening time. It's dark in Cork, especially. It's the city council there have done a really amazing job in around the back of Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and there's a whole thing called the Marina, or the Atlantic Pond, and have a whole new walkway around that. So they're kind of showcasing all that. Most of it is lit, but yeah, we'll have loads of neon, loads of lights, loads of disco kind of feel to it as well. And it's just something different. And it's really, really safe because you're running along, you know, with a couple of thousand other people, and it should be a real good buzz, you know.
Not many church weddings to interrupt during as well either, so get the music pumping.
Pushing wood here, our fingers crossed. It's no funerals or weddings, so we're good, you know. We're good, you know. We have to, we do have to. This is the kind of the nuances of stuff. It's like around the Atlantic Pond, they've no street lights, because the street lights affect the birds and the ducks, their mating patterns. So we have to bring our own lights into it. So it's like, it's really, everywhere's really lit up, but then you go around the pond, it's like pitch dark. So we have to bring the lights or whatever. So it's just all the weird stuff that you come across with mating of ducks and birds is affected by the light. So yeah.
And you never thought that would be part of a running event. Ollie, when we look at this, and people who are listening, it's probably the first time, because a lot of people are now focused on spring marathons, 5Ks, Raheny 5 miles, all these great iconic races we see around. They probably haven't really considered this night race in Dublin as a training run, or even as an opportunity for a club social. Is there still availability to join in both Cork and Dublin? How do people get involved, and how do people track these runs as they come around each year?
So in Dublin and Cork we're getting very close to being sold out in Cork. We still have a few places left in Dublin, and we have a larger capacity in Dublin. So basically, Cork is next week, Dublin's 2 weeks after that. So we expect there's going to be a big surge in there. So yeah, you can jump on our website, runthenight.series.com. Online registration is available there. You can register as a group with your club, and come down, get the Lewis in or get the bus in, and you'll be able to come in with all the gang and do it. It's down in the Docklands in Dublin, so it's great, really accessible, and you're running over a couple of the bridges as well, going around by the Silicon Docks, coming back down around the Point Theatre, up around the back of Sheriff Street, and back in to finish just by the convention centre there. So just an awesome run, like, you know, fully closed roads. It's just a good fun, you know. So encouraging anybody, if you're into running, I suppose it's not a 5K, it's just 8K, it's a 5 mile, so it's a bit of a distance change for some people. It's not as popular, but it's a really good distance, and it'd be great fun, you know.
There always is something special with those night runs. You alluded to Eric there, with the atmosphere and stuff like that. I think we did one a couple of years ago, very similar down that area, and
Yeah.
it was really, really enjoyable. So if you're listening, do check out the show notes. We'll have the links there that Oliver just mentioned.
Ollie, you promised a couple of freebies for anyone who gets involved. Can we give
You're
away
twisting my arm
tickets?
now, Eric, right?
Can we give away 2 tickets to each event?
I'm sure we can. We can work something out, I'd say. Yeah, definitely.
Well, we are going to give away 2 tickets for the Cork event and 2 tickets for the Dublin event. You're going to find more details on our social media, on Instagram, Any Given Runday podcast. We'll also have information of where you can register and links on our website, anygivenrunday.com. So to be in with a chance to win 2 tickets for you, your club mates, or whoever may fancy a nighttime run, 1 in Cork and 1 in Dublin, do check out the show notes, the websites, and the Instagram social over the coming days to enter, and hopefully we will get you a couple of tickets to do a night run. I think I'm going to do it as well. Sean, I don't know if Sean's going to come with me. He's afraid of the dark, you see.
We'll dress Sean up in like the leftover Christmas tree lights or something.
He'd only love it. He'd only love it. Yeah.
Actually,
Bringing it
sounds
back to
believable,
your
Ollie.
original days. It'll be like the Christmas Day fun run again. But Ollie, it's been absolutely brilliant to get on, and it's fantastic that this event and hopefully more of them, and we hope that Luxembourg is successful for clubs and other groups who may need some help and guidance with events as they look to the horizons for their own club events. Can they get in touch with you as well?
Yeah, and the name of our company is Elite Event Management, eliteeventmanagement.ie. Jump on there. I'm happy to chat about anyone about that. You know, a lot of the time we get a lot of calls, and a lot of time they're just calls and chats, nothing comes out of it. But we've loads of experience over the last 15 years of running events, and we're just happy to give back. And if you just want to have a quick chat about something, just feel free, drop us a line.
Why is the gears turning in your head, Eric? What's going on there?
Remember I said I was going to do the miserable marathon.
Eric's got to take you up on that phone call someday. You should have said
will
them.
be ringing next week. Watch out.
No. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Any Given Runday podcast with myself, Ollie, and Eric. Take care.
Thanks.